Vivek Wadhwa is a researcher and an academic associated with 3 top US universities, Harvard, Duke, and UC Berkeley. He's a writer for businessweek.com and TechCrunch, an entrepreneur who founded 2 software companies and an advisor to several startups. I recently had an insightful discussion with him. Let's take you there. Vivek, welcome to Women Now. It's such an honor and a pleasure to have you with us today.
Thank you for having me.
How do you wear so many hats and do what you do?
You know, at this stage in my life, my only priority is to give back and help the world. You have to realize that I started my career off in computer programming, became a chief technology officer, then became a CEO, founded 2 companies, took one public, and then fought lots of battles in my second company, won them, and then I came to the point that I was fed up with the tech world. I was fed up with the rat race because it's all about making money. And I had a little bit of money. I'm not rich like the people here in Silicon Valley, but I had enough to live comfortably for a few years.
Well, that's all you need in life.
Yeah, absolutely. I said, let's take off and just give back.
What's your most favorite subject and your research subject?
I was just, at the big level, I've been looking at U.S. competitiveness. How does the U.S. compete now that the world has changed? You know, while the West was sleeping, literally, the world changed. India went from being a third world country to being an emerging power, and so did China. America doesn't realize that. We're still haranguing immigrants over here. I mean, the rhetoric you hear from these senators about foreigners taking our jobs away, they don't seem to realize that immigrants founded 52% of the tech startups in Silicon Valley, for example. 52%.
That's huge.
Yeah, I know. They don't seem to realize that Indians, by far, are the greatest founding group in the tech industry. In other words, 1 out of 7 companies in Silicon Valley is started by an Indian. It's has an Indian CEO or a CTO.
Now that brings me to this question. Indians are so successful over here in the US. How come we don't see the same level of competitiveness or innovation from Indians in India?
You know something, people don't seem to realize how much progress India has made on that front. You read about India not filing many patents, but when you start, and I've done that, I've researched it systematically, I've been inside the research labs of multinationals in India, Indian corporations, Indian startups. The type of R&D that's happening in India is unbelievable. I mean, for example, who knows that the Amazon Kindle was designed in New Delhi? Did you know that?
Not myself.
You see, the Palm Pre, the touchscreen for that was designed in New Delhi. A lot of the most advanced devices right now, the washers and GE washers and dryers, are being designed in India.
Do you think US keeps it hidden just so they can pride over the innovation?
The government doesn't do anything about it. What happens is the companies keep quiet about it because they fear backlash. They talk about outsourcing R&D to India. They get harangued by senators and congressmen and by TV stations, so they keep quiet about it. In the meantime, India is becoming a global technology hub. On a scale which blew my mind, because when I started researching Indian education, my conclusion was India is in real trouble, that it's not graduating many engineers and the quality of Indian education is poor. And then I predicted when I started my academic career that India would be a flash in the pan, that its IT industry couldn't sustain itself. I went back 2 years later and started looking inside the R&D labs and was stunned to see what I saw there, the scale of R&D. Then I started trying to understand how is India succeeding. And what happened in India was that just like the Japanese learned manufacturing techniques from America and became a superpower almost, became an advanced economy, India's learned workforce development. Indian companies know how to educate their employees. They invest in them. And as a result, they're rising very rapidly. And now you have not tens of thousands, but hundreds of thousands, a few million people who have advanced skills, who are now doing cutting-edge R&D. Move forward 5 years, and I've actually predicted that India will be second to Silicon Valley in its ability to innovate and the startups that you see coming out.
Would that result in a lot of brain drain to India now?
It's already happening.
The economy is going to be 5% in growth, upswing, as opposed to U.S. economy not growing that fast.
India is going to be closer to 10%. It might even exceed 10%. And the U.S., if it's lucky, will be back to 3% growth. It's already happening. I'll bet you every one of your viewers knows someone who's gone back to India. Everyone, okay? Yeah. And when you hear stories about people who are going back, they rave about how they now have servants, they have drivers, they're living a comfortable lifestyle, they're making good money, they're living in gated communities. This is the upper class.
There's some superficial challenges, but at the end of the day...
There are a lot of challenges in India.
Yeah, because Indians are very connected and they, I think, have a much better life going back and living close to their parents, if not in the same city, at least close by.
That's the number one reason why people go back, because we research why are Indians going back, and the number one reason is because they miss their their parents, their sisters and their brothers and their other family members and so on and so on. In the past, when my generation came to America, there was nothing in India. There was nothing. There were no jobs over there for elite. So the IITians would come over here. What's happened right now is that for the elite, for the educated people, there are more opportunities in India right now than in the USA.
Just reversed.
Yes, and if you're here waiting for a green card, there are about 1/3 of a million Indians, or even more, waiting for green cards right now, stuck in immigration limbo. There are no green cards for them. And so, what they're saying is, why should we put up with this crap? Why should we put up this constant haranguement by these politicians?
And this unstable economy.
And this unstable economy.
And unstable
when our
job
friends
situation.
have gone back
you never
and
know when you're going to get laid off.
Exactly.
Now, coming to women, our show is Women Now.
Yeah.
What advice would you have? Because at some point or the other in their whole life, although they graduate from top-notch universities, they face the glass ceiling. How would you educate them to be a little different, or what edge they should have?
I've researched the role of women in technology, and the results of my findings and my interviews, my articles have been very, very controversial, because there's a dearth of women, and there's no excuse for this. Only 1% of the high-tech companies, as in the types of companies in Silicon Valley, have women CEOs. There are almost no women CEOs. You can name the number of women CTOs on your hands. It's that bad. There's a systematic bias against women. They're discouraged from becoming engineers and scientists. Believe it or not, the situation is better in India for women than it is here, because parents don't discourage their daughters.
That's a shame, because we're supposed to be the progressive people.
I know, this is why I've been raising this issue and taking such intense fire.
When do you think they drop the ball? When do women drop the ball?
Here's what happens. First of all, parents encourage their sons to become scientists and be aggressive. They tell their daughters not to be. I mean, it's just this stereotype of Barbie dolls versus guns, So daughters are brought up with a different mindset to start with. Now that's changing, but by and large that's been the case for the current generation. And then when they do become engineers and scientists, they're by themselves. I went to an event by the Anita Borg Institute a few months ago. There were 2,000 girl engineers over there, women engineers. And I was chatting with them, and they were so delighted to meet people like themselves, because they don't have, forget about the role models, they don't have friends who are engineers. So when they join the workforce, they're the only women in a male-dominated company, and they feel strange, they're treated differently. The men seem to think that they're better somehow than the women are. I've researched this systematically. I've looked at the difference between male entrepreneurs and female entrepreneurs, and guess what the difference is? None. Women are actually...
Women do even better with their soft skills and their ability to adjust, accommodate, and understand.
Not only
and have
that,
a better instinct.
they're also more astute financially. They don't go around bragging. I mean, I've fought ugly battles with Silicon Valley venture capitalists, because they've got this stereotype in their head that they can pick winners. And guess what? The winners are always the young male brats, the arrogant guys who go around showing off about the fact they can build $1 billion business. These kids drop out of school and think that they're gods. The fact is that 99.999% of these brats fail. You might have one Zuckerberg who everyone puts on a pedestal, but for every Zuckerberg, there are 10 to 100,000 failures who are now working at Old Navy. Women don't do stupid things like that. They're a lot more sensible. They manage finances.
Coming from a man, I don't know how much proud I feel at this moment.
But I
have a daughter. What would be the 3 top advices to her? And how would I...
tell her that she is better than anyone else. That she's not inferior to anyone. She can do better than anyone else can do. She can succeed at anything she wants to. In fact, being a woman can be an advantage for her, because she'll make more sensible decisions. Don't get cowered down. Don't be afraid of being alone. Don't give up or give in. She can achieve anything she wants to do. Tell your daughters the same thing I tell my sons, that they can do anything. I've been telling my children that they can be president of the United States if they want to. They can be the CEO of the biggest companies if they want to. Anything they want to achieve, they can achieve. Gender is not a problem for them.
What makes some of these ideas real?
It's determination. It's the people who know that, first of all, when you start a company, when you become an entrepreneur, accept failure. It's like doing an experiment that you have, when you do an experiment, you expect to fail a number of times. Starting a technology company, becoming an entrepreneur is the same way. You have to iterate, you have to learn, you have to experiment before you succeed. So you'll fail many times at everything you do. Accept that. Now, also accept the fact that once you fail enough, you'll begin to succeed. All of the famous people you read about have had many failures. They just don't talk about them in public. They've had failures. So accept that you'll fail.
It's a learning that is important from the failure.
It's a learning that's important.
Then you build better tomorrow.
And believe in yourself, be persistent, and learn from others. Learn from other people. Learn from people who've been successful. Learn their mistakes, learn their successes, and believe in yourself.
What about Indians, Asian Indians? What edge do you think they have over others?
One thing.
Both men, women.
Yeah, but what the advantage or the disadvantage we have is that we come from a very tough environment. In India, it's very difficult to survive. You have to battle everything. Everything every day is a battle. Okay, you have whether it's government, society. I mean, everything is a battle over there, and we learn to overcome obstacles. We're very creative. We don't have a sense of entitlement. We don't believe that we were born to succeed. We know that we have to hustle. We have to struggle. This is our biggest advantage. This is why when Silicon Valley, I said that 15.5% of, 1 out of every 7, or 15.5% roughly, of technology companies in Silicon Valley are started by Indians. The Indian population in the year 2000 was 6% of the working population. 6% started 15.5% in the most innovative, the most ruthless, top gun school in the world. How are we doing it? Why is it that people who have weird accents, who talk like us, who look like us, and who don't understand the markets over here have become super successful? Well, we know how to hustle. We know how to work hard. We let nothing stop us. If someone's going to discriminate against them, we basically, ignore them, and we find a different way of solving the same problem. This is what makes us what we are. And this is why all of your viewers can become successful, because they come from an environment, they come from a culture in which you know how to rise above anything that comes in your way.
Thank you so much.
Sure.
Coming up next, what is good Indian girl? Stay tuned to find out.